right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to look at our new chapter. It's chapter 4, and the standards that we're going to cover in this chapter are order of operations, algebraic expressions, tables of functions, and graphs of functions. So today what we're going to do is we're going to apply order of operations. You'll know that I have 1-2 at the top. That means chapter 1, section 2. So when you're in your textbook, it's going to be in chapter 1, section 2. I'll also have the page numbers ready for you, so it'll make it a little bit easier for you to find. Okay? So first of all, when we do order of operations, we have a neat little saying that you've all heard before. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and it means something. So first of all, we've got please. That means parentheses, and you've seen this before. I can have a parenthesis that looks like this, or I can have a parenthesis that looks like a bracket, right? And this is where you need to be writing on your iPads. We've seen both. We've seen parentheses and we've seen brackets, so it shouldn't be a surprise to you. Where today might be a little bit different from before is we have parentheses within brackets, or parentheses within parentheses. And so it becomes a little bit more difficult. Okay? And then excuse. Excuse stands for exponents. We see exponents several different ways. Sometimes we have something like this. Right? The 2 is called the base, and the 3 is called the exponent. We'll talk more about that and what that means later on when we do the problems. The second step, you'll notice, is my dear. And you'll notice they're 2 words, and they're both blue. Well, what it means is it's multiplication and division, but it's whatever you get first from left to right. So sometimes you'll get multiplication, sometimes you'll get division. It just kind of depends upon what comes first. Okay? And then the last thing that we can do is addition and subtraction, and again, it's from left to right. So if addition comes first, you do addition first. If subtraction comes first, you do subtraction first. It just kind of depends upon what's there. Questions? All right. So let's take a look at this. You'll notice that it says evaluate. What does evaluate mean? Yes?
No, like, simplify it, but you can't ever solve it.
Okay.
Because there's no equal.
Okay, I like all those things. So she said you're going to find you're going to simplify it, but there is no equal sign. And you're right, there isn't an equal sign because it's not an equation, right? When it talks about an expression, that means you're not going to have that equal sign in the problem when you get it, okay? Usually, though, when we see evaluate, it does mean to solve. So we are going to solve these, and we are going to come up with an answer. Okay? So let's take a look at the first one. Look at your list. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P is the parentheses. Do I have any parentheses in this problem? I do not. Okay? So I'm done with that first one. Now I go to excuse. Do I have exponents? I do. Okay? 2 squared is an exponent. So you'll notice that this is just like the check that we did before in hands-on equations. Okay? So 2 times squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. Notice that I'm writing it down right underneath it, and I'm writing all the other stuff down. Okay? Go back to my list. Do I have any parentheses? No. Do I have any more exponents? No. Do I have multiplication division? I do. From left to right, what comes first? Yes.
Multiplication?
Yes, multiplication. So 30 times 2 is 60. And then I write down the other stuff. And again, I do 1 step at a time. I'm not skipping steps. I'm not doing mental math. I'm doing order of operations. Okay? Go back to my list. Do I have parentheses? No. Do I have exponents? No. Do I have multiplication, division? I do. What do I have? Division, left from right. So 12 divided by 4 is? 60 divided by 4 is? 15, yes. Minus 5. And my last step then is 10. And I circle it. Notice that I'm working up and down. I do not want you to work left to right, side to side. I want you to work up and down. Right? And like we did with hands-on equations, if you want to fold your paper in half, work down the column, and then you go to the other side and work down the column, that's fine. I don't want you to squish it in and see how many numbers you can get on one page. Spread it out a little bit more. You're less apt to make a mistake that way. Questions on this? All right, let's go to number 2. Right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Do I have parentheses? No. Do I have an exponent? Yes. What is it? 2 cubed, right? All right? So that's 2 times 2 times 2, which is, it's 8. It's not 6. It's not 2 times 3. It's 2 times 2, which is 4, times 2, which is 8. That's correct. So I'm going to write my 8 down. It's very common for people to put 6. But that's why kids have problems with their ACTs and their MCAs and all these other things, is because they get confused with their exponents. Not that they can't do it. All right, now, do I have parentheses? No. Do I have exponents? No. Do I have multiplication, division? No. Do I have addition, subtraction? Yes. From left to right, which one do I do first? Yes. Subtraction. I get 8. It's 8 plus 4, and my answer is 12. Notice I circle the answer at the bottom. Okay, and then what I would do is on your homework, draw a line across or skip a space and go on to the next one. Questions on this? Perfect. Let's move on. Number 3. Right? Do I have parentheses? No. Do I have an exponent? Yes. 5 squared is? 25. Good. Write down all my other stuff. Okay, the star is a multiplication symbol. I didn't put an X because sometimes that can be a variable. Okay, so that star just means multiplication with order of operations. Okay. All right, do I have parentheses? No. Do I have an exponent? No. Do I have multiplication, division? Yes. What do I have? 4 times 25, which is 100. Yep. Plus 4. This equals 104. Okay, good. Let's go on to number 4. What do I do first? Parentheses. What do I get? 12. Keep those parentheses. Times 6. What do I get? Very good. 72. Done. Do you notice how much quicker these tend to be than last year? Okay? Because of hands-on equations, because we did that first. You've already done a lot of order of operations, a lot of multiplication, a lot of division, what comes first. So all that stuff is going to help you with this. All right, let's keep going. Notice that I have parentheses, and I got stuff going on inside the parentheses. So I'm taking a look at the parentheses first. Now, do I have parentheses in my parentheses? No. Do I have an exponent? Yes. So 3 squared is what? It is 9. Okay? Do I have parentheses? Yes. What do I do? Add. I get 10. Okay, now you've got a choice. I can put the parentheses still there. I'm going to keep them there just because they are. But technically, does that parentheses serve any function? It really doesn't. So if it doesn't serve a function, if you want to take it off, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine too. Okay. So I'm going to keep going, and I get 40. Questions? Okay, let's keep going. Notice that they're gradually getting more and more difficult, aren't they? Okay, do I have parentheses? I sure do. I have a bracket, don't I? Okay, now do I have parentheses within my parentheses? Okay, so now I'm going to go inside. Think of it like a donut. I'm looking in there. What do I do first? I do my exponent, which is 5 squared. So 5 squared is 25, and then I put all that other stuff around it. And notice, I technically could take that bracket out and put a parenthesis, but I keep it in there because you don't see it very often, and I want you to get used to it. I don't want you to see that bracket and go, oh my gosh. Okay? Now, do I have parentheses? Yes. Do I have another parenthesis? Yes. What do I do first? Yes, 25 plus 5 is 30. Very good. Okay, now, the parenthesis around the 30, does it serve a purpose? It really doesn't. So I could throw it away if I want to. I'm going to keep it in just because. Okay, now, do I have parentheses? Still do. So I'm going to add. I get 35. Does my bracket serve a purpose? It does, doesn't it? What does the number and the bracket do? It is multiplied. And so if I multiply together, what do I get? 105. 105. And I circle my answer. Questions? Last one. Okay? You'll notice it's evaluate, and then you'll notice that it's a fraction. And you'll notice that I have some variables in it. Don't freak out. All it is a pretty little check. You know, it's looking like it's really spooky, scary, and it's not so bad. Okay? So what we're going to do when you do your problem, you're going to write the original problem. So I want you to write 12k and then the other stuff. When you do fractions, I don't work up and down. I work left to right. And I'll show you why later. When you do fractions on top of fractions, your numerators and your denominators get kind of funky. They like bleed into one another and it can be confusing. And I'll show you why in a minute, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to write down the expression. And then I'm going to take out this k and I'm going to put in the 2, okay? So it's going to look like this. Notice that I take out my variable and I put the 2 in and I put parentheses around it. Really important that you use parentheses just like we did with hands-on equations. All right, now when we do fractions, I do the numerator and denominator like they're separate problems. Okay? In the numerator, is there a lot going on? There really isn't. What's 2 times 12? It's 24 and I'm going to leave it. Is there more going down in the denominator? There is. So do I have parentheses? Yes. Do I have parentheses in parentheses? I kind of do, but notice it's associated with the exponent, right? So I'm going to do the exponent, which is 4. That's correct. And then I just bring my stuff across. Again, when I do fractions, I work from left to right. Right? Is there anything more to do in my numerator? No, so I'm going to leave it. Then the denominator, do I have parentheses? I do. 4 plus 4 is 8. I'm going to keep going. Okay, and then 3 times 8 is 24. And then, am I done? No, I can go further. What can I do? Yes. That's correct. 24 divided by 24 is 1. And I'm done. So you try to take it as far as you possibly can. All right, now one of the reasons why I don't have you work up and down is this. If I work this thing up and down, watch what happens. See it? See how confusing it can be? It's like your numerator and your denominator kind of bleed together. So don't do that. This is not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go across the fractions. It keeps your numerator and denominator separate. Let your numerator be one line on your piece of paper. Use your lines for your fraction bar. And then use your space for the denominator. All right, let's look at this one. We're going to write the original problem. So I'm going to write my expression. Okay, I'm going to take out my x and I'm going to put in a 3. Okay, treat my numerator separately. What do I do first? Yes.
6 times 3.
Which is?
24. 18.
Close, yep. 18, that's all right. Okay, and then the denominator, what do I get? 10. Add 7 plus 2. Or, I'm sorry, 7 plus 3. Okay? Numerator, what do I get? 20. Denominator, I'm going to keep the same. 20 divided by 10 is, most of your answers will come out pretty like 2, 3, okay? Eventually we're going to get negative numbers and we're going to get decimals. That's why it's really important you check your answers. Don't do it wrong. Don't do it wrong. Make sure that you check your answers. Now, as you're going, if you're getting all of them wrong, should you continue to do it?
No.
No, you put it away, right? If you're doing it wrong, you put it away and make sure that you come and see me or email me and tell me Mrs. Messick I'm doing them wrong. Okay? All right. That is it for your notes for today. You can go ahead and start your assignment.